Hey, welcome, welcome. So glad that you're here with me tonight. And what we're going to talk about today is a case that I think I saw a couple of headlines in the last few days, but I didn't really look at the case until today. And I thought, yeah, I have questions. And if I have questions, then I want to bring it to you to get your thoughts as well. So the case is of the young man, 12 years old, Jalen Griffin from Buffalo, New York. And he went missing. He was reported missing on August 6, 2020. All right. Now, he was last seen on the 4th, 2 days before they reported him missing. He told his mother, I'm going to go walk my new puppy. I'll see you in a little bit. I'll be right back. And he was never seen again. So effort to keep people aware, keep looking, keep tips coming in. And that it was nothing until 4 days ago, it was reported that his body was found in the attic of a house. So I can share with you that, let's see here. So this is Jalen, and this is the house where his body was found. The police say that he had been deceased for a while. We don't know if that means months or years. I'm sure there would be a big difference in that for the medical examiner to look at. And also, this is right now is like a week or so before his 16th birthday. And he went missing when he was 12. So there's probably some differences for the medical examiner between a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old. So that should help them in giving a range of the time of death. Hey, Chalet's in the house. Welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. You're just getting your cereal. Excellent. I had some cereal as a snack today. It was just bran flakes, like Raisin Bran, but with no raisins, just the bran flakes. It was like cheaper than the other cereals. So I went ahead and got it. And I've been adding like my own fruit, cutting up dragon fruit or mango, or today I had some red grapes. So I just cut the red grapes in half and added them into it. Cereal is good. So anyway, this is Jalen. So I thought what we could do is play the police press conference, the official press conference right when his body was found. And there has been some new information that's come out just over the last couple of days. So maybe I'll pause and let you know some of the updates, or if I have questions about what's being said. Chalet says, I'm having Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. Magically delicious. I love Lucky Charms. There is Lucky Charms, and it's like $8 something a box. And I'm like, I just can't afford it right now. Don't tell anybody. All right. So let me switch over to this tab.
So an update on the Jalen Griffin missing person case. So Jalen was reported missing on August 6th, 2020.
You guys can hear this okay?
Through the investigation, Jalen was last reported to be seen on August 4th, 2020 in the vicinity of his home. The case was handled by the Buffalo Police Department Special Victims Unit. Our Special Victims Unit handles, among other investigations, they handle all missing person cases within the city of Buffalo.
Yeah, they're half the, so they're like four to five here, but that's still expensive. Yeah, I agree. Cereal's supposed to be the cheap stuff. Why is it so expensive? I don't know. But yeah, let's get into this with about Jalen Griffin.
They conducted that investigation that began immediately, which included a significant amount of and exhaustive efforts, searching numerous homes, locations.
It sounds low to me too. but it's all the way up. Let me check. Yeah, the volume is all the way up, so we'll just have to deal with it. So basically, right now he's going through all the efforts in the beginning when he was first declared missing, and all their efforts that they had to try and find him.
Searching with cadaver dogs, fields. They also conducted coordinated grid searches within the city of Buffalo and in areas outside of the city of Buffalo. We followed up on every tip that came in, including multiple psychics that called in tips, spoke with our detectives, and even based off of those tips, we searched all of the areas that were included based on what those psychics said in an effort to leave no stone unturned.
So I actually think that is pretty interesting. You know, most police and law enforcement won't admit if they do use a psychic, and or they'll just poo-poo the psychic, and we're not going to go follow up on your leads. But they had the attitude of, we're not leaving any stone unturned. Um, you know, Quite frankly, from a law enforcement perspective, someone might just be saying they're a psychic, but they might know something, but they don't want anyone to know that they, for some reason, have inside information. So they'll say, "Oh, it's a psychic thing or whatever." So they looked at everything. So kudos to them for that.
And again, they followed up absolutely every single tip. The department also worked with community groups. We know community groups were working independent of the police department, conducting their own searches, putting their own flyers out, and we appreciate the efforts that they put out there. We also provided recently a Crime Stoppers flyer, which you can see on the front of the podium, back about less than 2 months ago, about a month and a half ago. Well, we're also working with numerous missing persons clearinghouse organizations, having Jalen's information input into those organizations. But unfortunately, our search came to an end on Friday, a little after 10 o'clock in the morning in the 100 block of Sheffield Avenue, where A district officers responded to a report of a dead body in the home. Our homicide squad was called to the scene, conducted their investigation, and working with the medical examiner's office, it was quickly put together that the investigation was going to merge with the search conducted by our special victims unit. The body that was located in the house had been there for a significant amount of time. I cannot provide a time frame on that. The ME's office cannot provide a time frame on that. I'll just leave it that it was up there for in the house for a considerable amount of time, or at least found in a condition that shows that he had been deceased for a considerable amount of time.
So that's as much as they're going to tell us right now about how long he may have been there. I would also be interested in were there clothes, that like remnants of clothes? Were there shackles? Was he stuffed inside a trunk? Was he zipped up in some kind of bag? But they're not telling us any of that right now.
Through the use of dental records, today Jalen was positively identified to be that of Jalen Griffin, and unfortunately was found exactly 1 week before his 16th birthday. First and foremost, I do want to extend my sincere sympathies to the family of Jalen. Again, this department has conducted extensive searches, and I want Jalen's family to know that we are working diligently. We will continue to work diligently to bring the next closure for the family. The first closure was finding Jalen and bringing him home, and now we are going to conduct another round of investigations with our homicide squad, continuing work with the special victims unit so that we can bring a next level of closure. We have worked with numerous law enforcement agencies on this case to include the state police, the FBI. There were other agencies that performed other functions with the use of their cadaver dogs and other technologies. And again, as I said, with the numerous missing persons clearinghouse organizations as well, there's a host of organizations and groups and people that have been diligently searching for over 3.5 years to find Jalen. And unfortunately, the result is not what we wanted, but we did bring Jalen home, and we will continue to work this. So I'm now going to turn this over to the acting District Attorney, Mike Kane, for some comments.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will join in Commissioner Gramalia's expression of sympathy and, our deepest condolences for the family of Jalen. This is a young boy. He's 15 years old. This is a tragedy, and it's a terrible way to bring this search to a conclusion. This now begins a homicide investigation. As you know, it's our policy not to discuss any great detail on active investigations, but our investigation is beginning today. Now that it's been confirmed by the medical examiner to be a homicide, the medical examiner will do a thorough and complete investigation, which will include an autopsy. That could take months. We expect it's going to take months. That's going to, hopefully reveal to us some forensic evidence that is going to be significant in the investigation. And, that's where the investigation is going to go from here. So I don't have a whole lot to add other than, again, just to restate my sympathies and our office's condolences to the family.
All right, next I'm going to bring up Karima Morse with Bury the Violence.
From the family of Jalen Griffin, they would like to thank everyone for their input and effort to diligently work and get him home, to Detective Bentz and Detective Weber, who came on and finalized this to give us closure as to where Jalen was. Also, we would like to thank Detective Hernzak, who came prior to them, and Commissioner Gramaglia, who started out with when my niece was murdered. And this is where we're going to close the chapter. We will still be meeting at Memorial Drive for Jalen's 16th birthday memorial now service, 6 p.m. At the Paderewski Circle Memorial Drive. Thank you so much, and please keep the family in your prayers.
Yeah, that's kind of sad that I think they were already planning this event in the ongoing search for him to keep Jalen in people's minds. They had like an age progression photo made of him. And so they were going to have this 16th birthday party for him, for the community to keep searching and keep looking and not give up. And so that event, which was already planned, is now turned into a memorial for him.
As I said, this investigation has been going on for over 3.5 years. It's been an exhaustive investigation by several members of the Special Victims Unit. They really put everything they had into this investigation and worked it very hard. And I thank them for all the work that they have done. It's the work that they have done that is allowing the homicide squad a significant advancement in the beginnings of their investigation. This will be a joint investigation by both squads. And as I said, we're going to work very diligently on this. And I thank all the detectives and Special Victims Unit for the amount of work they put into this. This is nothing short of a tragedy for a 12-year-old boy to go missing, and for it to end this way. This is an absolute tragedy. It's very sad, very hard to get through this press conference, but we have work to do, and we're going to continue doing that work. So we will take questions. There's not a lot we can answer. We'll do the best we can, but we will take questions.
Commissioner, the call that came in, are you able to elaborate any more on, what was said in that call and the house he was found in? Was that vacant? Was it occupied?
So he's asking, like, who made the call and what was said in the call. That there was a dead body in the attic?
It's it's an occupied structure. It's an occupied structure that somebody was in the house with a valid reason and came across. I'm not going to get into where inside the house the body was located, but
So like he's not in this press conference, he's not even saying where the body was located, but we know now that it was in the attic. He's saying that it was an occupied residence, but the person who found the body was not an occupant, but had a valid reason for being there. And it has since come out that basically this was like a halfway house. This was a place that people that had mental health and substance abuse issues would be placed in this home as their residence. Right now, it's also come out that many of the neighbors in this neighborhood were not happy about the people living in this house, and that some of them were registered sex offenders because they came up on so they've got if you've got kids, you're going to have the app that shows anyone who is a registered sex offender that moves into your neighborhood, then you get like an alert. I guess it's something like this. So they knew that they're either that or they were just checking like a website or something. But so they knew that over time, there were a few different people that had to register as sex offenders that were living in that home, and they weren't that happy about it. And so if he was kidnapped at 12 years old, was he taken immediately to this house or not? We don't know. Nobody ever saw him there. But so it was, so I don't know if the person who found the body was like someone who worked for the company running the halfway house. Excuse me. And they were doing like just a check and an inspection. If it was maybe somebody that was, what do you call them? People that spray like pesticides and stuff like that, exterminators. Maybe it was an exterminator that had been called. Maybe it was like heating, air conditioning. Maybe it was plumbing or electrical, and for some reason somebody had to go up into the attic and they discovered the body. But they haven't said who. So that's an interesting thing. Are they as to who it might have been that found him? Had to have smelled, exactly. And so one of the videos that like news, because there's nobody in true crime is talking about this that I found. Everything was like news stories. And so one of the videos that I watched in preparation to find out like, well, what's happening with this, it said that like July of last year, I think the Google Street View had gone by and you could see that the attic windows were open. And so that could have been for like ventilation, to get rid of the smell, I think is what they were implying. But I'm not sure if any of the neighbors ever were complaining that, I thought that maybe there was a dead possum somewhere, and I couldn't figure out where the smell was coming from. Or maybe, it's like, yeah, there was a smell coming from the house, but I figured it was a dead possum or something, yeah, so that's one of my questions about this case.
they came across the body and then immediately called the police. It was in the 100 block of Sheffield in South Buffalo.
So like they're not even giving the exact address yet, but as I showed you the picture before.
So I didn't mention in my opening statement, the medical examiner has conducted the autopsy and they have ruled that it is a homicide. I will not get into the manner and cause of death, but it is a homicide. So now it is in the hands of.
So he's not getting into the manner and cause of death. Well, manner is homicide, but he's not going to get into the cause of death. And yeah, like I said, I mean, were there restraints on him? Was there any clothing? Was he inside of something? But they know it's a murder. So I'm guessing that there's something more than just the fact that he was missing and found in an attic, because, oh, well, maybe, he crawled into the attic by himself and died up there by himself and nobody knew. And it wasn't a homicide. It was just an accidental death or natural causes or something, right? No, I think that they've got some kind of evidence. There could be a bullet hole, even if he's just to like bones or very desiccated, because it said this is a long time. So I think that we're talking bloating, no bloat, gases released, all that, there had it. I think it's a definite if it's over a year, because he was missing for 4 years. So let's say a year or two, there's going to be extreme decomposition, and but maybe there was a bullet wound, or maybe there was some blunt force trauma to his head or something, that even if it was just bones and it was a skull or something, that you could see that. Yeah, I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. He was 12 years old and went to walk his puppy and never came home. Somebody obviously snatched him while he went out to walk his new puppy. Yeah, it's sick. 4 years, yeah.
The homicide squad.
I swear this keeps getting quieter and quieter. It's harder and harder for me to hear.
I can't get into. I don't know the answer to that. The ME is going to have a lot of work to do. All I can say is that the condition of the body shows that it's been deceased for quite some time.
Quite some time.
Same homeowner that would have owned the home in 2020.
We're looking into everything. I'm not going to confirm that information.
Are anyone currently being interviewed or questions in connection with it?
We've been interviewing a lot of people, and I say we, the detectives. The detectives have interviewed a lot of people. That will continue. As you see the Crime Stoppers flyer up front, there is that reward that stands, and we are asking anyone with any information, and we've done some.
Now, I don't know so they're talking about the investigation that they're still asking people. The screen goes black for a little while, so they must have edited something out that the police didn't, decided that they didn't want said, because then it comes
I'm
back.
not going to get into that right now.
The special victims unit being involved, is this a sex
Oh,
trafficking thing? Is this
could be the
So the
person's
Special
question
Victims Unit,
too,
thank you for asking that question. That's why I put it.
because he
in
says
I'll
we're not
explain
getting into
further.
that right now.
Special Victims
Probably
Unit
asked if he was
investigates
sexually
sex
abused.
crimes. They investigate domestics. They investigate missing persons. There's a large umbrella. Those are the largest of the things that they investigate. But there's a large umbrella of things that they investigate.
Poor family.
So, I'm not going to comment on anything beyond that, other than Special Victims Unit investigates a wide variety of cases. Missing persons, that's why it went to them. So now, not personally, we just got confirmation of this a couple of hours ago. Detective Bentz, along with homicide detectives and a homicide sergeant, went out and spoke with the family about an hour and a half or so ago, maybe a little over almost 2 hours ago. Spent some time with the family. They were made aware that we were going to be doing a press conference, and so I have not spoken with them since. We've been preparing to get this information out.
What's the reaction of the family? Are they relieved? Are they sad? I know sad, obviously, but what is the
Where
reaction?
it is.
Detective Bentz, do you want to address some of that, or? You got it. Detective Joel Bentz from Special Victims Unit.
They express gratitude for being able to close this chapter, and they understand that another chapter is being started. and that will, comprise of doing a further investigations.
And the family, I mean, this is obviously, they just found out, the official, this is gonna be a tough time for them,
I
right?
like her
I imagine
glasses.
so.
She looks kind of no nonsense.
How rare are these cases
Artemis.
where you have a young victim go missing for this long and then obviously turn up the guy?
I mean, I don't think we've had one in quite some time. I think for this kind of, timeframe, I don't recall quite some time where we've had one like this, so. Someone who had a reason to be in the home, so not not a resident, someone who had a reason to be an actual reason to be in the home. Sorry, I'm trying to be a little cautious on how I say it, but someone did have an actual reason to be in the home.
See, I think I actually, I mentioned the exterminators and the plumbers and stuff like that, but I really think it was somebody that worked for the halfway house in some capacity. So whether they were checking on actual residents or if maybe it was like an annual inspection of the house, for some reason, I mean, well, I guess we don't know exactly. It's been some time. That could be months, or that could be years. If they do an annual inspection and they go up into the attic, and they do a full thing every year, then they would have found his body sooner, right? So I don't know why, but I think that's why he's being so cautious about saying who, because if he says that it's somebody that works for the company, then he reveals that it's a halfway house. But we already know, I mean, this press conference was 4 days ago, so we already know it. But I think that's why he's trying not to let out that it's a halfway house. Another thing, I'm wondering, did they move everybody out? I'm guessing because the house became a crime scene that they had to move everybody out and that there's no longer any residents in this house. And of course, people want to know who has lived in the house. And they're not giving away any of that yet. I don't know if there's any true crime people on YouTube or whatever that love to dig that are gonna like find a way to dig into this stuff or not. I don't know. I'm not that kind of digger, at least not at the moment. There's been times, when I was digging with Kylie Rodney and digging with Idaho for, dig a little bit, but yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm not really doing that kind of thing. We're just going over what information is out there.
We had taken some tips along the way that, people had said that they thought that they had seen him. Without knowing a time frame, but knowing the condition, I think I can say with certainty that it has not been in quite some time. But like I said, in the investigation at the onset, the last known sighting that was reported to us through the investigation was that 2 days before, on August 4th, 2020.
So they never had any sightings of him after he was reported
That's,
missing.
all a part of the investigation. So, we hope to bring this matter to a close and turn it over to the district attorney's office where all that will come to light.
Just details on the memorial.
You want to come to the microphone?
So we will have a candle vigil memorial at the Paderewski Circle, which is Memorial Drive outside of the old train
So she's giving
station.
details about
Monday,
where the
he would have been
memorial is going to
16. It
be.
will be at 6 p.m. Monday, the 22nd. Correct. That would have been his 16th birthday.
So it'll be Monday in 2 days.
I could ask you, if you can speak to this. I mean, did neighbors tip you guys off at all to this? I would imagine the decomposing body's been there for a while. There would be a scent.
We did not get any calls on that prior.
So they're asking about the
This
smell,
was
and he's saying they never got any
a new
calls
development. We had
about a smell.
nothing related to this at that address before.
It was an occupied home, but the person who discovered him had a reason to be there, but wasn't the occupant.
Yeah, it's a multiple unit dwelling.
It's a multiple unit dwelling with
Without getting
4
into more
rooms.
specifics, but the person that called the police, had every reason to be there to make that call.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So that's it. Yeah, one would think so. I think it sounds like they're very forthcoming. I mean, yes, they're not wanting to reveal too much, or at least at the time that they did that press conference. That was their first press conference once he was identified by dental records, by the medical examiner. So I don't know if the police are the ones that have released information, or if reporters and journalists have been digging around and finding more information. Like I said, everything I was looking at was journalists and news stations that were giving information. So I think I just have a sense that there's like more to this story and what happened to him, how he ended up there, how he died. And I hope that these things come out, and that they find who did this to him, and that he gets justice, just like we do for all the victims of cases that we cover. We want awareness about what's happening, not to scare people or anything like that, but you need to have, I think that the term now is situational awareness. I remember growing up, and it's like, be aware of your surroundings. So we all need to do whatever we can to protect ourselves and our loved ones without, smothering them, but helping them to gain their own independence in a healthy way. We need to know the risks and the threats that are out there, so that we can do a better job of protecting those we love. So that's all I have to say and to bring to you at this time. If more information comes out, then I'll do another video later. There is another case that I came across that I've kind of seen in the news. I mean, like, I've seen these like headlines popping up again. True crime, though, isn't really doing anything. It's more in the news stories about these two mothers that were killed. And now that there's like, they've arrested some suspects, and they're claiming to be part of like a cult or something that's called God's Misfits. And one of the news things that I saw was the leader of him and his wife have a ministry that they call themselves God's Misfits. But he was saying, I don't know who these people are. They're not part of our ministry, and they don't even have like, it's an online ministry. I guess they have less than 300 followers on Facebook or whatever. And so that looks like, but I need to dig, and I need to find out more about like what's happening. I don't even know what happened exactly, but I think it was two mothers that were killed. And so that's kind of popping in the news as well. And I'll check into that and then do another video either tomorrow night or next week when I find some information. You might notice that I have moved my desk back to the original position that it was, because I'm like right under the air con. We're having a heat wave right now. Let me see. 39 Celsius to Fahrenheit. It's 102. But that's the 102 temperature, and then there's a heat index on top of that 102, right? Let me see if I can find out like what that was for us today, or what the forecast is for tomorrow for Phnom Penh. So right now at 9:30, It's 88 degrees Fahrenheit with feels like 98. So a full 10 degrees Fahrenheit higher for the heat index. Let's see, like noon was 96. Around 3 p.m. was 99. Tomorrow high 102. Let me see. And what's the heat index for tomorrow? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh my God. Oh my God. What? What? Wait, is this Phnom Penh? Oh my gosh. Forecast for Sunday in Phnom Penh. And it goes by hour, right? From midnight to midnight. It says tomorrow's forecast 12 noon is 98 degrees, but 109 heat index. Fahrenheit. 1 o'clock, 99 with 109 Fahrenheit. Okay, you guys know I'm talking Fahrenheit. I don't have to say that each time. 99 degrees, 109 heat index. 2 p.m., 101 degrees, 110 index. And the same for 3 p.m., 101 degrees, 110 heat index. And then even like 8 p.m. tomorrow, 91 degrees, 102 heat index. I'm telling you guys, it's hot. And so when I moved my desk to a different part in this room, which wasn't right under the air con, and it cooled down the room a bit. And you got to realize our air cons aren't like the whole house. Like it'll get cold until it reaches the temperature that you set it at. And then it'll back off for a little bit, and then it'll come back on, it'll kick on, and it'll back off, it'll kick on. No, it's like turning a fan on or off. And when you have a temperature that you're setting, that is the temperature of the air that's getting blown out, not the temperature of the room. There's nothing about that. So like when the room reaches a certain temperature, then it'll shut down for a bit. No, it's on or it's off. And the temperature is what's coming out. And when it gets really hot like this, I think anywhere in the world, the air conditioners can only take the outside air and reduce it so much. So if it's like really, really hot, it might not like be getting really, really cold. It's cooler, but not super cold. So dang. Yeah. You're supposed to be 90. Oh, you're going to have a heat index too. Let me put Kennedy Space Center, because that's near you. Or Daytona, maybe just Daytona. Daytona Beach, Florida. So right now you're 77 degrees, feels like 78. So that's not, oh, but you're just in the morning, right? So what's your high? Your high is supposed to be 87. Let me see your heat index. Let's see, 84, 85. Your peak is around 3 p.m., which is 85 degrees, and your heat index is 88. So only 3 degrees more for your heat index. So that's not bad. 80s, I like 80s. 80s are good for me. Hot child in the city. Hey, Snow, welcome. Snow in the house. Yeah, I'm actually just getting ready to wrap up everything. Put Cocoa Beach. Okay. Cocoa, no, OA. Oh, Cocoa Beach, Florida. Okay. Here, I'll share the tab. You can see what I'm doing. So we've got 78 right now. It feels like 79, but so here, it's 11 a.m. It's 80 degrees, feels like 83, 81, 81, 82. 82 is the highest. So you get your peak at 1 p.m. with 82, and it feels like of 85. That actually, I would be very comfortable with that. Does it say the humidity? Your humidity. Oh, that's it. That's interesting. So when you've got your peak temperature and peak heat index, like at 3 o'clock, your humidity is at 73%. But then in the evening, your humidity goes up to the 70s and even the 80s. Interesting. Yeah, that's not bad. Daytona's 45 minutes away. Okay. So there you go. That's the weather forecast. Anyway, now you know why I moved around. So now I'm like right in front of the aircon. Oh, I had a drumstick. I took a picture so that I could put it up as a community post, but I don't know, maybe I know if the screen's white, it doesn't show very well, but if I'm showing a picture, maybe let's see. I have 2,000 photos and 358 videos. Come on, why aren't you opening up? There we go. Almost. There, you can kind of, here's the picture of the drumstick. Vanilla with chocolate, with peanuts. They had one that was chocolate ice cream with almonds, which actually sounded, I like almonds better than peanuts, right? But I thought, no, I want the vanilla ice cream though, because the chocolate would be just too much. So maybe tomorrow it's going to be hotter. Possible. Let me see. Cocoa Beach. Today, tonight. Where was tomorrow? I'll give you your 10-day forecast. Sunday's a lot hotter. So your high on today, Saturday for you, would be 81, but tomorrow it's 86. But then Monday it drops down to 76 and you got scattered thunderstorms. And then it goes on to some partly cloudy and mostly sunny throughout the week. So you're back into the 80s by Thursday. Looks like a great weekend next weekend if you've got any plans. Just partly cloudy. There you go. 24 today. What? Oh my gosh. Can you give me some place that's near, that doesn't reveal your location, but near, and I'll look it up if you want. Otherwise, we'll just 24. What is this? April? Still spring for you guys. April's the hottest month of the year for Cambodia. So this is our like peak summer right now. And we're feeling it. Oh my gosh. We haven't had this kind of heat wave. I think if I was like a global warming person, I would be saying, global warming. But, all righty. Well, I think I'm going to end it, and then you guys can, splendid. And we're in for a heat wave. We're in the middle of a heat wave. Every 2 days, the meteorological government agency is putting out announcements that the heat wave is continuing. I don't think there's any relief in sight yet. The weather maven, happy to help. And anyway, so yeah, I'll keep tabs on this case. If there's anything new, I'll bring it to you. Snowing in Canada. Oh my goodness. And Snow says, when the temperature is hot, they call it global warming. And when the temperature is cold, they call it global warming. When the temperature is normal, they remind you that it won't last. Yes, exactly. In Iowa, it could snow one day and be the 80s the next. Oh my gosh. Well, California, growing up in California was great. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and you learn to layer, because you had the beautiful morning fog that comes in San Francisco, right? And you have that fog layer in the morning, so it's kind of cool. Then the sun burns it off and it heats up, but not like not hot, but like whatever you're wearing in the morning, you want to take off a sweater or something, and then have a windbreaker, because you might get some wind coming up off the bay, which cools things down. And then at night, then of course it's cooler, so you want to have a jacket. So you learn to layer when you grow up in California. In Minnesota, you get 8 months of winter. Oh no. Well, I guess if you like snow sports and stuff, then that's a good thing. I like to visit the snow. Not as big a fan of living in the snow. But I spent the 5 years that I went to college at Southern Utah University, Utah, Southern Utah University, obviously, in Cedar City. They had a snow season, and so I did live in the snow. And then I was a chef for a couple of years at a ski resort, at a steak, seafood, pasta house and restaurant in Bryan Head. So anyway, okay, let's wrap it up. You guys remember that love transcends time and space. So wherever and whenever you are watching this, I love you. Yes, my love for you. And those aren't empty words. I mean it. Mwahahaha, California dreaming. Yeah. Of course, I spent my summers from the time I was 12 through high school in Georgia. So I know the summer humidity. When it was 98 degrees and 98% humidity, I'll never forget that. And but you know what? I was resilient. We're kids, It's just what it is. It didn't bother me. I love summer is still my favorite season. Absolutely. Iowa and Minnesota right next to each other. Yeah. Alrighty. So I will see you next time. Always 9 p.m. And I'll bring whatever's the latest. And so just kind of make sure your notifications are turned on, so that way if I do go live before our regularly scheduled broadcast on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, who knows, I might do one tomorrow. I did a surprise yesterday. I did a surprise tonight. I might do a surprise tomorrow. I don't know. Or maybe I'll take a day off. We'll see. Snow says when you lived in Kentucky, it was oftentimes 100 with 110 humidity. How can you have 110 humidity? It was worse than living in a jungle. That's what I tell people. People are like, oh, Cambodia, isn't it like, hot and humid and jungle and everything? I'm like, let me tell you, it's nicer than summers in the South. Okay. Love you guys. And I will see you next time. Thanks for joining. Bye.